Howdy everyone, Poacher here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we are going to do the Hero Spotlight for Rougarou, the final character to the Beastman faction, and there is a lot to him, so we'll cover everything. We'll go over his stats, we'll go over his abilities, his animations in the arena, and we'll talk about how you could potentially use this hero. As you can see, there's a new feature to this one, Shape 1, so we'll talk about that as well. So let's get into it. Stats are completely maxed out. Comes in hit points at 8.2 million, speed 223, armor 66,000, magic damage resistance 58,000, basic damage 1.6 million, crit hit chance 25, which is fairly low as a base crit anyway, and crit damage is 2.1 million. So one thing to note, however, is the crit chance is 25%, but we also need to remember that this character has been designed to pair with Valar, who prevents crit anyway, so when paired with him it doesn't really matter. If there was some way to use this character outside of a Beastman team or a Valar-led Beastman team, then his crit chance might be an issue. But we'll jump into the arena. Sorry. They're the stats more in depth for you. Feel free to pause and have a look at anything you want. And there you go. Okay, so we'll jump into the arena now, go over this character's abilities. Though it has 4, there's actually 7. So video might take a while. So buckle in, we're in for a ride. Jumping into the arena, we have Rougarou's basic attack. Sharp Shot triggers the range damage at class mark, deals damage to one target. If the target had a debuff that increased damage taken, then all buffs that reduce and or limit damage are removed from it. So, nifty little basic attack, could come in handy, very niche, but effective against characters like Irizit and Brynhild and Siegfried. They have the ability to apply limited damage taken to themselves and allies, or certain characters, and obviously the buff to reduce damage as well, which multiple characters can do. So very nifty, but it has to have the character applied with a debuff that increases damage taken, so it needs a little bit of a setup. We'll go ahead and look at the animation now on the enemy arcane. So he shoots a bolt, nice, big damage there, and yeah, pretty standard. I like it, but needs to be set up for it to work. And of course, you wouldn't lead with a basic attack, which in the case of battle, most of these characters that are applying these buffs are going to start off using. So yeah, there's a downfall to it. Moving on to Rougarou's second ability, we have Double-Handed, triggers the range damage at class mark, deals damage to the target and another random target, reduces the initiative of targets, so both of the targets hit by 60%, and casts a debuff that increases damage taken by 50%. So this is a very interesting ability in the sense that it synergizes really well with Valar. So Valar has a inbuilt trait that allows damage to be dealt after an attack is dealt. So when Rougarou attacks, there will be a second attack that deals 40% of Valar's basic attack. Now this is important because we will apply that debuff that applies extra damage to the target, but that second attack will then follow, remove the debuff, and they will take that extra damage. So it will all happen at once. So if you're using this character and you can never see that debuff being applied, it's because it's getting triggered straight away. So pay attention. We'll have to take the ability of cooldown. Wonderful. Okay, so we attack. The debuff's applied, as you can see, and then Valar comes through and triggers it, and there you go. So, yeah, already synergizing pretty well with Valar. They take the extra damage, and yeah, it's pretty nice. Double initiative reduction is neat. Unfortunate that you can't control the second target. It just is a random target, so potentially it could be wasted if it hits a target that's just had an ability. Their initiative will be at 0 anyway, or close to. But the extra damage is nice. Unfortunate, again, that it's being triggered by Valar's trait. Because you could use a much stronger ability that's doing a lot more damage than 40% of Valar's basic attack, and getting a lot more damage out of this. So it's a double-edged sword. It gets triggered straight away. Extra damage on the ability potentially could be enough to just take out a target. Moving on to Rougarou's third ability, we have Shapeshifting, removes all debuffs from Rougarou and transforms him into a direwolf for 2 turns. The direwolf's level, star rating, equipment level, and current HP are inherited from the human shape of Rougarou. The level of all direwolf's skills is derived from this skill, so they will be equivalent to this skill. So we'll go ahead and look at the animation of this ability. It will transform us. Nice. Nice, okay. So not much more to it. It's just moving him into his next form, which then gives him another set of skills. So we will go over his passive now, and then we'll go over his abilities in the direwolf form. Moving on to Rougarou's passive, we have Catcher. If an ally receives critical damage, Rougarou gets a buff that increases his speed by 50% for 3 turns. Every time an allied Beastman's initiative is reduced, Rougarou reduces that ally's skill timer by 1. If an allied Beastman dies, Rougarou's initiative fills to 100%. If the squad leader is Valar, Rougarou stays in his direwolf shape 1 turn longer. So the passive mainly revolves around the Beastman team. There's the top part that can be used in any faction. It's a universal part, but the rest is Beastman orientated. So you're not going to get as much value using him in cross-faction combinations. I think Beastman is definitely going to be the way to use him and utilize him. So some very interesting stuff here. The speed boost, that's awesome. It's going to make him very quick, because, I mean, you can't stop crits. Your team doesn't perform any crits with Valar as leader with AoE attacks. However, you're still going to get crit. So there's that to take into account. And, yeah, well, Rougarou benefits from that every time an allied Beastman's initiative is reduced. So this is an interesting part of the ability. When an ally's initiative is reduced, a Beastman's ally's initiative is reduced, their skill timers are reduced by 1. Now, the issue I have with this part of the ability is the fact that a lot of the time initiative reduction is going to mainly happen at the start of the battle when everyone's cooldown is at 0. I'm thinking specifically of one character. We're all thinking it. There are obviously other characters that reduce initiative, but for example, if Mordred reduces initiative, everyone's timer is already going to be at 0, apart from possibly Rock. I like it. It's just, it's very interesting. You will obviously benefit from it the longer the fight goes on and your characters are alive, but if initiative's getting reduced at the very start of the battle, what's it really achieving? That's my only concern, but you could get Rock a little bit of boost from this, because Rock's faster than Mordred, so keep that in mind. If an ally dies, awesome. Rougarou's initiative is increased to 100. Now, this is really nice because the Beastman team has the potential for characters to die and keep coming back to life, and dying, keep coming back to life. So it's very interesting. You could get a lot of benefit from that with Rougarou and Phoenix resurrecting and dying resurrecting. It being a full Beastman team, she's going to have the best chance to resurrect as well. So you're not having to mix other characters into this team. If the squad leader is Valar, he stays in his direwolf form for 1 turn longer, which is decent. When we go over his direwolf abilities, you're going to be like, oh, okay, Valar, maybe you are useful. So we'll go over his direwolf abilities now, and yeah, we'll do a battle and we'll showcase this Beastman team. Moving into direwolf form, we have a new basic, Sweeping Slashes. It triggers the Melee Damager class mark and the Beastman class mark. Performs 3 attacks in a row on all enemies. So his attack becomes an AoE ability now. If the enemy has a racial mark of Beastman, then the damage of each attack is increased by 30%. If the enemy have shields, it deals 90% less damage. The attack ignores buffs that reduce and or limit damage. So there's a lot of neat things happening in this ability. I might talk for a while, so we're going to go ahead and look at the animation of the ability now. So he will come and slash, 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 followed by 40%. I think, there we go. Nice. Nice. That's neat. So one thing that really stuck out for this ability, and this is more for beta players or players that have been playing the game for a long time, this is the first ever ability that has the description of what happens when you trigger the mark built into the actual ability. There's never been an ability like that. The marks are normally distinguished at the bottom of the screen where the effects are normally told from the character that applies the mark, not the character that triggers it. Valar triggers or applies the Beastman mark, but it doesn't tell you what it does. Rougarou, though, his ability actually states what happens when it's triggered. So that's very interesting. And you can see that by the melee damager class mark. It doesn't tell you what happens if the melee damager class mark is triggered. That's because the character that would apply that mark would have a description at the bottom that tells you what happens if the mark's triggered. So that's really cool. I think that's awesome. I love that. If the enemy have shields, the attack deals 90% less damage. So it's already giving the team a weakness. I am all for that. If you create a character and build a weakness into it, it's not going to just make them powerful against everything. So that's really neat. It's already giving a way players can strategize against this team. What teams in this game shield? Archons instantly come to mind. So the defense orb squad also comes to mind. So there's the potential to build a team to counter this, and by the looks of it, it's going to be teams that can shield. So again, I'm all for that. Characters that just have positives and positives and positives can just lead to issues. And the target ignores reduce and or limit damage, which is massive. I think that really plays on the nature of the character. He's a direwolf. He's transformed. He's bloodlust. He wants to kill. So that's cool that he's just going to slash through any type of damage mitigation. He's there for business. So I love this ability. I think it's awesome. I think it's got the potential to do really, really well. Moving on to Rougarou's final ability in direwolf form, we have Deafening Howl. Triggers the melee damager class mark. The enemies cannot attack the direwolf for 3 turns. Allies' initiative is increased by 40%. Casts 4 stacks of Smell of Blood buff on itself. With each stack, the direwolf deals 6% more damage. Stack limit 10. All stacks are removed when the hero shapeshifts back into a Rougarou. So this is giving himself a pretty decent damage buff. Enemies can't target him. He increases initiative of his team. There's a lot. This is a fairly decent support ability. There's not much more to it. This is just buff him up, get him ready to start striking and taking out enemies. So once you go into direwolf form, you obviously cast this ability first, and then you would start slashing away. So the downfall of Rougarou is he takes a bit of time to get ready. The ability to turn into a direwolf is on cooldown when the battle starts. He then has to turn into the direwolf, which takes a turn. Then you have to choose, do you want to cast this ability, which will then take another turn, then move into attacking. So there's a lot of setup to get this character going. There is a step you could skip. You could skip casting Deafening Howl if you wanted to. Maybe there's enemies that are weak and you could just wipe them out with a basic. But to get the most out of him, there's a bit of setup. So we will jump into a battle now. We'll verse the Orcs. It's just a team that is ready, and we'll see how this character plays. Okay, jumping into battle, and Rock dies immediately. That's fine. We are going to start attacking Dagan. I would like to take him out. Actually, no, we'll reset initiative on the Arcane, and I am going to follow up with, do we want to do the AoE now? No, we'll use our single target now. Try and get Arcane as low as we can. And now, okay, we're going to just cast this. Can we kill Arcane? This is going to be a damage transfer. Let's have a look. Yeah, damage transfer. That's fine. We could potentially take out Lascari here. Take out Lascari for me, boys. Okay, we do the AoE now. Lascari will die. Wonderful. We can go Beast mode or Direwolf mode. Now, Lascari is going to come back to life here. The counter attack gets the AoE out as well. That's nice. Oh no, he used it. Okay. All right, we're in business here. He can't. No, he can't resurrect. Oh, okay. We're going Beast mode. We're buffing our attack. We're going to get the most out of this. We are going to attack. Going to remove debuffs. Scorching Terror does not get applied. Okay, big AoE damage. Let's slow this down and have a look. All right, so boom, boom, boom. Nice. Nice. Oh, we get another one. Extra damage. Nice. We lose Phoenix. Does she come back to life? She does not. Doesn't matter. We need to take out the healer. Gets a double strike. Okay, we take out Chrome next because he still does a lot of damage. So reduce his initiative. 1. We take him out. Beautiful. Arcane left. We're going to get rid of her stacks here. We're going to get rid of her stacks. Kill her. Nice. Okay. I like him. I think Rougarou's cool. I really do. I think it's given a little bit more value to Valar. The Orcs was I just used Orcs as a staple team to verse because they're preset into the game and it's just easy to get the battle going. I don't think it's a great team to verse the Orcs with. I mean, they win, but losing the rock straight away hurts a bit. So there is that. But I think he's a cool character. I think they've done well with him. I think this is they've definitely given this Beastman team a lot more use now, which also helps Suna. You won't feel as bad using Suna now in the Defense Orb squad. The only character now that's being left out is old Pig Boy. Since day one, he's been forgotten. I don't know. Oh, poor big Pig Boy. But, I mean, who cares? We got a cool team. We got a cool character. Does awesome things. And there is the potential to do a lot of AoE damage. But there you go. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer it to the best of my ability and wherever you're on the world. Until next time, please take care of yourself.